Hey guys, my name's Stephan Kesting from grapplearts.com and beginningbjj.com. This is my friend and training partner Richie Yip, who teaches at Infighting MMA in Vancouver. So
Awesome. Yeah, we're just gonna go and talk about the fight from last night, the Nogueira fight.
the fight from last night.
Oh, absolutely, Nogueira versus Mir, which was awesome. We're just gonna go and kind of break down the fight for you guys, and really starts off with a stand-up exchange where Stephan's Mir and I'm Nogueira, and Mir is able to go and throw a huge left hand. You see, he's coming through, and Nogueira's able to go and duck underneath it, and then charge in right away with an underhook. They're able to back themselves up against the fence, and then it got really, really interesting because Nogueira was really controlling the fight from here.
He was controlling the bicep here, so he couldn't really hit.
Exactly.
And the underhook on this side.
Really nice high underhook, and as well, Nogueira really had a good strong head positioning, and when he was controlling the bicep, he was able to feed punches to Mir's face.
Yeah, and so that went back and forth a few times. They reversed, and then they were reversed again. And then at one point, Mir took Nogueira to the ground. And basically, it looked like some kind of big body lock and muscled him to the ground. And that's when things got really, really interesting. So after they hit the ground, this was roughly their position, wasn't it, Richie?
Yeah,
so half guard here. Mir's left leg was trapped, and he had the right overhook. And his this arm was kind of floating around, kind of in a headlock, kind of here. But Nogueira had the double underhooks. He had both his arms wrapped around the body.
Mm-hmm. I think this was a great position for Nogueira because this led him to be able to go and escape. Now this is really, really impressive, being able to escape from underneath Mir's top half guard. I bet you maybe there's 10 guys in the world who could do this to Mir.
One of the best MMA grapplers who outweighs him by 20 pounds.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. So Nogueira, the critical thing for Nogueira was to be able to go triangle his legs. He had his ankle over top. He had his ankle actually over top of Mir's calf like this. From here, Nogueira was able to go and get his hip out. Note the angle, see how far away his hip was. This way, Frank could not go and crush him out. Can you go and flatten me out? Like this. And then you see how his hip positioning stopped Mir from doing so. From here, Mir was doing something really interesting. Stephan, can you explain that?
Well, he was worried about having his back taken, it looked like. And he was beginning to sit up and try and make room here to try and push this way. Right? And they were fighting here, but Mir was starting to sit up, and Nogueira took advantage of that.
Exactly. So Nogueira, once he was able to go and get on his elbow and then get up on his hand, the critical thing was that he's able to go and extract this inside leg. When he's able to go up here on all fours, or pardon me, on his hand and on his 2 feet, then there was a little bit of grip fighting off of Mir's account. He was trying to control Nogueira, but from here, Nogueira was still able to go and drive him forward and then work against the fence.
The transition from groundwork to standing work, it was like going from half guard to technical stand-up from half guard and then turning it right into a drive up against the fence. The mixing of the groundwork and the dirty boxing and the clinching was beautiful. So right after Nogueira stood up, he drove. And when he drove, he pinned Frank Mir up against the fence. And then there was a good bit of dirty boxing and clinch work.
Definitely. Whole lot of grip fighting in this range. So Mir was trying to control Nogueira, but Nogueira was lucky enough to go and free up this arm, his right arm.
Or skilled enough.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And he's able to pull this out, and then he landed, I think, maybe 3 elbows on the inside. There was a little bit more grip fighting. Nogueira was able to go and clinch up with Mir, and he threw a huge knee through to the torso. This is where they disengaged a little bit. Yeah. And then there was a really interesting interaction with some boxing.
They both looked pretty good at that point. Like they're definitely in excellent shape compared to,
Mir looked crisp. He had his hands up, ready to box. However, Nogueira threw a 1-2, and this is where it gets really interesting. Nogueira throws a straight left, and now you see how Mir is able to go and catch the left, but he doesn't see the 2. He doesn't see the straight right. The straight right clocks him perfectly. Now Mir's stumbling around. There's a little bit more of an exchange where Nogueira was pushing him in, and then from here, what happens, Stephan?
Frank Mir shoots it just because he's a warrior. He shoots a survival double. It wasn't a technical shot.
Sure.
It was just oh my God, I'm getting hit here. I'm going to try and take him down. I'm going to try and buy some time, clear my head.
Absolutely.
Basically shot here.
Exactly.
And Nogueira sprawled. So Mir's shot in on a double leg, single leg. He's got Nogueira's right leg hooked with his left arm, but it's not a real strong position.
Yeah.
He's still rocked from the punch.
Oh, definitely. And Nogueira's got a great takedown defense strategy, and he's sprawling out on Mir from here. Right away, he started feeding him hammer fists. He was hammer fisting on this side, he's throwing punches on this side, right over here. I actually
He's
thought...
even punching him under the armpit here.
Yeah, throwing some punches on this side as well. I actually thought that Nogueira was going to finish the fight at this particular stage. However, the tipping point of the fight is where Nogueira now decides to go for a guillotine. He turns, hooks up his hands, throws this leg over, and then dumps Mir over as he does the guillotine, and he wind up in a half guard position. Nogueira still has his arms linked together, going for the guillotine. However, Mir's really smart. He sees he's in danger, and what does he do, Stephan?
He lets go of the half guard and start trying to come out here. He's creating a little bit more room for his neck. It's not quite as bent up. Nogueira's still on top. He's still squeezing, but he's buying himself a bit more room by almost being here in side knock. So put your weight right on top of me, Richard.
Sure.
Like this. So from here, the fight went all over the place, didn't it?
Yeah, this was insane. Big scramble.
Now, Nogueira didn't have anything to post with on his far side. So what Frank Mir was able to do, squeeze a little bit, Richard,
Sure.
he's able to pick up this leg and basically huck him over onto the side that he had no base. He followed Nogueira to the top. Here, Nogueira immediately started to run towards him this way, almost getting back to sort of a half guard, almost a turtle type position, and started to do a sit out, right? So
Now the sit-out was really interesting. Now, can we take this arm, please, Stephan? From here, Nogueira was able to get his head out. And note how Nogueira's head, the back of his head was checking Mir's torso like this. The sit-out, I'll just do this really quick, okay, Stephan? What Nogueira was trying to do was that he was trying to sit out and then run and be able to go and get into the original position that they started off in. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
no, as he was doing the sit out, maybe it was this arm being trapped between the legs that slowed things down just enough for Frank Mir to set up what would eventually finish the fight.
Right.
So, you're Nogueira, you're trying to take my back.
Right, he goes for the back here, but as he does it, he doesn't really have quite the right position. He's too far down Mir's torso to get his hooks in. He's turning, trying to get the back, but at this stage, Mir locks up the Kimura.
He locks up the Kimura even though it's a non-traditional position. He's locked here, he's kind of almost given his back. And then what he does is really cool. He hops his legs across Nogueira's body. He hops his legs backwards. Now they're in a Kimura. Now Nogueira's really in trouble.
Right, Nogueira starts to try and sit up. He kicks up and he's trying to go and post on this hand like this. From here, they do a big roll.
After they rolled, and after Frank Mir kind of tried to hook Nogueira's head, which would have been really cool, because if you got the head hooked, then you can finish it right here. Didn't quite manage to hook it. He kept the Kimura position. Now, you might be able to finish somebody from here if they're asleep at the wheel. Now, Nogueira definitely not asleep at the wheel, but you can still use this as a lever, even as against a really good opponent. As you force this up, most good opponents are going to roll to take pressure off their shoulder. You keep the grip, or he kept the grip, and now he wasn't applying the Kimura from the traditional side mount here. The very final Kimura position is just terrible. Basically, he had his leg over top of Nogueira's head, so Nogueira couldn't sit up because the leg's in the way. He had this completely locked up, and he had this arm so far behind his back that we still don't know whether it was the arm that broke or the shoulder that gave way. I thought it was the shoulder that gave
I
way.
think it was the shoulder as well. It was just
Terrible.
Yeah, absolutely gross.
What
obnoxious afterwards.
Two amazing warriors, though.
Yeah, unbelievable, great fight. The back and forth. I literally thought that Mir was done when he had shot in for that single leg. I think the critical mistake for Nogueira was going for that guillotine.
When he could have stayed in ground and pounded, but that's just
Yeah.
Monday morning quarterbacking.
Sure. Oh, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Because I don't want to fight either of those guys.
I don't think I do either.
I don't even want to fight Nogueira with a busted shoulder.
No thanks.
So if you like breakdowns like this and other techniques, and you're in Vancouver, go check out Richie's school, Infighting MMA. It's a really good school, and he's a great training partner of mine. If you're not in Vancouver and you're somewhere on the internet, it's presumably how you're seeing this, go to beginningbjj.com and sign up. There's a ton of great stuff that you get. It's all for free, and if you don't like it, you can always hit the unsubscribe button at the bottom, and you'll never hear from me again. Take care.